Does Garfield without Bill Murray, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But it will be in 3D. Chase Liaki here with the Blue Futon reviewing Garfield 3D 4DX. It's been a while since I've done a 3D 4DX review. So what's this movie about though? Pretty simple premise. Garfield finds his human, and 5 years later, Garfield's having the time of his life, eating lasagna, just being an indoor cat and enjoying the living heck out of everything. However, his father comes back, and now he has to figure out to steal milk, help a bull out, and you know what? Maybe have a little bit bigger family overall. So, let's talk about the 3D and 4DX first. 3D, it wasn't bad. I would say it's on a tier a little bit below the other animated movies I've seen in 3D recently. I think Wish, we have Migration, a couple of the Minion movies. So, it's fine. I think it might just because the different animation styles of like it would go to 2D and 3D, even though it wasn't that predominant of changing, but it did. And I just don't think this movie was made for 3D in mind. Yes, there is some depth perception funness to it, and maybe 2 or 3 pop out moments, especially when Garfield goes like, "Hey, does to this the camera," and that's when you're like, okay, that is some pop out effects there. But overall, not bad. Is it worth the surcharge? I'm going to have to go with no for this one. 4DX. Another one where I was like, okay, it's fine because this movie is more stationary than you think. Yes, there is some chaotic moments, but nothing made the chair go crazy. No off-the-wall moments. So if you want your kids to have like a little bit of fun, but not overdo it where the kids are uncomfortable, like, I can't do this no more, mommy, it's moving too fast, you will not have that problem. So if you have a chance to see it in 3D 4DX, might be difficult because of, Furiosa. Kids might enjoy it, a little bit of a roller coaster ride. It is what it is. So for the movie itself, though, it's super safe, it's super disjointed, and I understand what it was trying to go for the message of family, but it could have done it in such a better route. There's so many different random side characters that you just, like Snoop Dogg. There's no reason for Snoop Dogg to be in this movie. Let's be freaking honest with it. He plays a stray cat that was in the movie for maybe 5 to 3 minutes tops. I think the only reason why he was a voice in it because he did a rap song in the end credit. Through and throughout, that's the only way I could think of like characters like that being in this movie. The animation, it felt a little bit off. It's kind of interesting because this is a Sony Pictures movie, and also Spider-Man was Sony, so it's very different, animated studios. But I'm trying to think of another Sony animation like Angry Birds. I don't know. Maybe I got to rewatch them or Mitchell versus the Machines, but they just felt like they had a little bit more of a budget. I'm guessing Garfield probably had like an $80-ish million budget, which I heard it basically made it back already because of all the screening overseas. So congratulations on that. And Garfield seems like it's to be a success, and you'll probably see it more on the screen. Voice acting, I think is fine. Chris Pratt does something a little bit different. It kind of sounds like him, but it doesn't at the same time. So that's fine with me. Like I said, Nicholas Hoult, he's fine in it. Samuel Jackson, fine in it. Pretty stationary on those levels. Ving Rhames is in it, so there is one adult joke, I'll put it that way, with a bull and a cow. Yeah, they're adult joke, that's all, I'll put it that way. So when coming to the mixing of adult and kids jokes, there were a decent amount of kids in my movie theater, of course, the kids movie, and it seemed like they were having a good time. Adults, they probably were more of like, turn their brain off and have the kids have a good time and be like an hour and a half of just chillaxing, so that's fine there. But it felt like something was missing. It felt very cheap. It felt disjointed, like I said. And yes, I'm going to say it's not made for me 100%. Except that one joke at the end, which I go, okay, about to get it on. But I mean, other than that, yeah, there's a couple chuckles here and there. Sure, it is what it is, but nothing to make me go, this is something to watch again. Like How to Train Your Dragon, like Legend of the Guardian, like, some other like Disney old school movies out there. This one is a complete one and done. Even for kids, honestly. And I think that might be the biggest misstep for this movie is the replayability for if kids wanting to watch it. I could be completely wrong, but I think once kids watch this one once, there's going to be no replayability for them to be like, oh, Mom, put it in Garfield when it's on Netflix. Put on Garfield when it's on Peacock, Paramount Plus. It's not going to be Paramount Plus. It'll probably be It'll probably be Netflix because it's a Sony thing. But I just don't see that happening. Yeah, it's fine. It's kind of harmless, but then at the same time, you're like, you could have done a little bit something different, but it just felt like it was kind of unneeded, and that's unfortunate when Garfield's kind of a big cartoon character overall, or comic character overall. So overall, Garfield the movie, 3D 4DX, you could probably skip the 3D. 4DX kids might like it because there's a little bit of bumping here and there, but the movie's disjointed. There is some good messaging about family, but the overall experience just felt unnecessary. So the Garfield movie will receive a 2.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals that 50%. So let's see the critics and user scores that gave this one. So you have critics a 38% with 98 of them, audience score 85% with over 100. Critic consensus: the Garfield movie rolls along at a zany enough clip to be diverting for kids, but this animated adventure doesn't much resemble Jim Davis's iconic grumpy creature. Sure, absolutely. So I mean, it is what it is. Kids movie, and I still have it beating Furiosa because we'll talk about Furiosa next. But 38, 50, 85. Chase like here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing is Futontopia. You Blue Futons think about a great day. I don't care what you say. Tomorrow week, from month or a year from now, every single freaking one of you. And yeah, kids, hour and a half, pretty dang simple. And there are cat videos and a lot of product placements like Walmart specifically.